Hey, welcome back to Campfire Kernel, and today we'll be talking about different types of tinder. Tinder is, good definition for it, is something that will take the spark from your ignition source to get your fire started. And there are many different types of tinder, but what a common trait is very small fibers and a lot of air. And I'm just going to show you how they work with different ignition sources. First one I have here is Cattail Fluff. This is the thistle that comes from a cattail plant. It's the way it spreads its seeds, and this stuff is highly flammable. And I'm going to use one of my favorite ferro rods here just to demonstrate a bunch of these different types of tinder. But the ferro rod makes a very hot spark. So depending on what type of ignition source you have, say flint and steel makes a lower temperature spark. These ferro rods are nice to have in your camping kit because they make a really hot spark and they can ignite almost any type of material. So here's the Cattail Fluff. I'll go ahead and ignite that. Probably one spark and it's flame away. I use dryer lint a lot because I'm an urban warrior here, and I have a lot of it. I've got a big family, so we do a lot of clothes, and basically a lint ball is nothing more than a cotton ball. So we do the same thing for it, and it catches fire immediately. And I use it a lot for my fires, just to practice my skills. One of the things I started with was using hemp rope, and this is very fibrous. What you do is you pull it apart, rub them into a ball, into a nest, and this is basically what I have here. A lot of times some of these materials with a lower temperature spark won't ignite as easily, but you can use these to drop your ember in and make your fire nest, okay, your fire bundle, and get it going. I can show you just how flammable it is by putting a little bit windy today. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so again, anything that's very fibrous is highly flammable. And here's some wood shavings, basically the same type of stuff. I like cedar bark. Cedar is very fibrousy, and what you do is you take and you scrape the cedar bark until you get a nice fibrous nest. And what you want to do is break it apart and shake out the dust. Okay, you want just the fibers, almost like hair, and anything with that consistency is going to be a good fire starter. What I would do with the cedar bark is I would take my fire by friction or my flint and steel ember, drop it into the nest bundle, and get my fire started that way. Here's some of the birch bark. Again, I got a lot of it. It grows around here. I use it for landscaping trees, and has a real papery bark, and it just peels off. Someone said the bark that is growing sometimes is better than the stuff that peels off because it has more oils in it. Apparently this will burn when it's wet as well. but I'll put a hot spark on it and see if I can get part of it going here. Okay, so that's taking a hot spark really well, and that'll sit there and burn pretty well. Cotton balls, again, basically like a lint ball, but okay, I'll do a half of it. Okay, just by itself it'll work really well. Okay, ignited right away. You can improve a cotton ball with some petroleum jelly. Petroleum burns just like it's a oil-based material. I keep some in a little canister in my kit that has petroleum in it. Also, hand sanitizer. You can get it really going well with some hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is, let's see, 62% alcohol. So good to have in your glove compartment. It'll really burn, and it'll burn a long time as well with that that alcohol in it. Similar to the cattail fluff and the dryer lint and the cotton balls, this willow tree behind me here in my yard the other day was dropping some of this thistle, so we can ignite that just as easily. Okay, and it's going. Okay. So you make do with whatever you have. Kind of on a different note, more of a modern method. If you have steel wool or any type of wire, this is a steel wool that I got from a building supply store used for sanding paint off of walls. It's a 0000 grade, very, very fine wire. The Brillo pads that you use for scrubbing pots and pans are a little bit thicker and they don't work as well. But go for the thinnest variety you can. And when you do any type of battery, if you touch the positive negative at the same time, it shorts the battery out and it makes a hot glowing ember, which you can get a fire going with that. Some other very useful tinders to accept a spark, even a low temperature spark from a flint and steel, is the char cloth. And I'll do a separate episode on preparing different types of char cloth. This is some cotton batting. Anything that's made out of cotton will work well. If you saw my demo on the bow drill, I used a little bit of char cloth to help me with my ember. This is one of the types of tree fungus called Chaga, and it grows on the side of a tree, and it's kind of like a big wart. I actually bought this online. People use it in their tea, but you can find it online. If you can find it in the woods, even better. And there are a number of different types of tree fungus that work. Amadou is another one. Some people call it amadou. But what you do with this is you scrape it with your knife. I've got it in a little paper plate here so it'll catch my crumbles. And you get a little pile there. This works with flint and steel, and I'm going to do an episode on flint and steel later. But today I'm going to show you with the hot spark, which is the ferro rod. And I'll get a spark going in there. And I've got a number of embers, glowing embers. A couple of last things before I leave Tinders is there are some materials that you can find naturally and man-made that will help you start your fire. This is called pitchwood, and where I'm from they called it lightered wood, and it's because the farmers would use this wood to light wood. But what it is the center of a pine tree. What a dark wood on the inside has a lot of pine pitch and resin, which burns very nicely. I'm going to get this one started just with a lighter to show you how well it burns, and it'll sit there and burn like a candle while you get your fire going. Well, what if I don't have a piece of lighter wood? I've got a snack bag. Maybe I've got a couple of leftover potato chips in my bag, and I need to start a fire. Fritos and potato chips are made with a lot of vegetable oil. And if you can see that's burning like a candle. All right, I was looking in my lunch kit and I found a plastic spoon. Okay, plastic spoon, what's that made of? Petroleum. Plastic is a petroleum-based product. Again, I'm going to use a lighter here to get it started. Choking black smoke, but again, will help you get maybe a fire started, give you a little extra time with your fire. Hey, duct tape. Put duct tape in your survival kit. The duct tape has like a plastic layer on it, and again, petroleum based. Duct tape, good for a lot of things in a survival kit. Bandages, make a cup out of it, and you can use it for a fire starter. This wraps up another edition of the Campfire Kernel. There are many different types of tinders out there. I showed you a few. Just be creative and find things that work, as long as you're looking for the fundamentals, which is a very fine fibrousy material, a lot of air, something that will accept the spark or the heat from an ignition source. And just be creative. There are many. I just showed you a few. But if you like what you saw, I'm going to do some more episodes. We have, be sure to like it and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it. Come back to see us.